Yeah,
people are crazy.
But yeah, it's it's really interesting, man. And I don't know what it gonna go.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that was hilarious. Especially when Ed was like, I got so much to say. When it's crackheads running on campus. It's not closed off. It's the brothers and sisters. It's not safe. And
when you throw the women being safe in there,
you saw it.
Oh yeah, but that's just like that's one of those things that okay, well who's gonna say that? Hey, the women aren't safe.
But it goes back to like, yo, did you ever visit this campus before you agreed to be the coach? It's an open campus, and there's a bunch of open campuses, or whether it's HBCU or not. That's just the way it goes. And crackheads, come on, man. Like there's only two type of people in the world that can identify a crackhead when they first see them, and that's a person that actually sees that person doing crack. Smoking crack, then you can identify this person as a crackhead. Or two, a person that has sold crack for an exorbitant amount of time. If you're not one of those people, how do you know this older, rough-looking person is a crackhead? Just because he's old and rough-looking? That's what's around Daytona. There's 20-year-olds that look old and rough. They lived a hard life. I mean, that's true. I'm just saying. That's Daytona, man.
It's tough in Daytona.
Yeah. It's very poor. Like the black side of Daytona, man, those people are very poor. Yeah. They don't have a lot. So that's just how they're gonna look when they age. You know, the people they gonna have $2 to their pocket. So they're not hurting nobody.
Black don't crack except in Daytona.
When you live a hard life, it's gonna crack anyway. But it's like, man, the Daytona. But it's like those people are not hurting. People not hurting the students, man.
Yeah.
We're not walking to class afraid for our lives.
Yeah.
But
when you throw that out there, like what you're saying,
people are run with it.
Yeah, people are gonna run. People who aren't there, who've never been there, they hear that. Oh my gosh, we got to protect the women students. we got to keep in good shape to take some dick later. Like, what are we doing?
It's terrible, man.
That is funny.
There is something going on with the SD card.
That's your workout for today, huh?
I know. Right? That's why you bring two.
That's right.
Getting started here soon. Matter of fact, we can get started now.
Yonder music.
Being that I'm here right now, I'ma go and get it right now, get committed right now. I'ma do some shit that's gonna uplift a bunch of people's spirit right now, help them heal it right now. I'ma get them riches right now. Work plan, manifest, beat, speak that shit into existence right now. Can't slow down, got the vision wrote down, cause I seen it, man, I'm on right now. Focus in the motherfuckers where I'm in the zone right now. Ain't no later, dog, it's only right now.
And it's only right now.
It creates.
Right now.
No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. So I focus on that when I can focus on now. Pull up at a beach on the outskirts of town. Enjoy the view and give thanks to the truth. And I go hit the yo just to shut that bitch down.
And I'm high right now. So alive right now. Clear skies right now. Living my life by my own rules. I feel what I choose.
Yonder music.
Do it now. It's gonna take some work, okay? And I'm right back at it. Divine alignment, fully automatic. I don't think about it. I just watch it happen. I just move toward it and I get supported. When I try to force it, it just get distorted. So I dance with it. Crystals all in my pants with it. Healing all in my hands with it. I'm an alchemist. I'm a master. I'm a rabbi. I'm a sensei. I'm a bad guy. I'm an alien. I'm an animal. I'm a cannibal. I'm so handsome, no. Yo.
And I'm high right now. Can barely open my eyes right now.
making it. Climbing these ladders and laying foundation, that's masonry. This shit is different, cause my dreams are literally chasing me. Grateful for where life is taking me. I'm living life, that's to say the least. Only true beauty can tame the beast. Only true love can tame that beast.
Are you here with me right now? Right now. Vibe with me. Vibe with me right now. Right now, yeah.
Welcome back. You guys are back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. Turn that up just a tad bit there. If you have any audio issues or video issues, please let us know in the comments. We are available on the Bench Podcast. It's available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. As you can see, I'm hoodie mellow today.
You are. You almost have a little D-Wash vibe going over there.
Yeah, D-Wash. D-Wash, that's another one. That's probably a better. Let's change the hoodie mellow to hoodie D-Wash in respect to the all-time Orlando basketball great.
That's right.
So, yes, we have a pretty good show for you guys, as I would like to think. All right, every show. We're only getting better. We're like Erykah Badu. We get better with age and time.
She gets crazier with age and time. Like, she's kind of out there.
Some people say you get crazier with time as well.
Me?
We get some of those
Personally?
comments. Yeah, they say
Really?
Pink is crazy, man.
Oh, but with time or just out?
Or just period.
Or
right?
just fired out the pussy this way?
But, yes, of course, we're talking about Bethune-Cookman, the fallout with Ed Reed, what's going to happen. We have a longtime Daytona Times journalist and writer coming on the show. He's going to be calling in. We tried to hook up the Zoom. We tried to get him here in person, but we're going to get him on the show however we can. And today is going to be over the phone in Andreas Butler. And we're going to be talking about the president had a recent interview.
I want to talk about those two girls at the top.
But also, Andreas had a recent interview, one-on-one interview with Ed Reed, and we'll talk about that. We got some Erykah Badu later in the show, and we're going to talk about NBA, NFL, and another crazy lady in Daytona. So hopefully Andreas knows a little bit about that as well.
No shortage of crazy in Daytona.
There's
right
no
now.
shortage of crazy at all, man. But yeah, last week we kind of introed the Ed Reed topic, and we kind of talked about what's going on, and I had some strong feelings and strong takes, and
Yes, you did.
And actually, the clip on IG went viral, and I stand by what I said, but here goes the thing, right? When something happens, and it doesn't matter what it is in the world of sports, world of entertainment, whatever it may be, you have a take, especially when it hits home, when it hits close to home for you. You have a take, and then you continue to learn more and more about the situation and what's going on, right? And a lot of the people in the comments, and we had thousands of comments, man, it was crazy. They went at me, man. They attacked me. And, I took it like a man. I responded to at least 75% of them. I took time at home. I could have been, doing other things that grown men love to do. But instead, I'm in the bed responding to comments, And you guys had great points. There is an avenue, and there is not an avenue, I guess is the right word. There is room for Bethune-Cookman's Board of Trustees, administration, president to do better for these students. But number one, you can't cast that on all HBCUs just because of one problem in Bethune-Cookman. But at the same time, you also can't take a train and just start rolling with a train and start coming up with all these different fallacies. You got a guy on Twitter trending about how his 3 sons had to share helmets at football, and you got Ed Reed saying Bethune never had or doesn't have a practice field and no locker rooms and there's a lot of different things that get to going, and you guys who have never went to Bethune-Cookman, and then you also have some alumni who just, for whatever reason, they don't like the Bethune-Cookman Board of Trustees as well, or they had a bad experience, some of which, and then you guys just get on the train and you go with all of these different wild stories that are just simply and plainly just not true, or they have a reason for it being like that. The 2 hurricanes back to back. Yes, bigger universities can recover from that right away, but if you're already poor, you know what I mean? Like for a quick story, when we were living in Edenville, and my dad got hurt right outside of the job. He got hurt. One injury that he would only be out for 3 weeks, but his job couldn't allow that. He was working on roofs at the time. Couldn't be out. They wasn't going to allow him to be out 3 weeks, so he lost his job. And that next weekend, we were homeless.
Damn.
We were homeless that next weekend. Like, if you're already struggling or poor or something, one catastrophic event can just derail. It can derail you. It can set you back. And yes, you can have the funds, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time to fix that, because there's a lot of other things going on. Your daughter may have emphysema or cancer or asthma, whatever the case may be. You got all these other things going on. And on top of the rent and this and that, and that's my point about Bethune. But we're going to get into that very shortly here. I'm going to call Maurice Andres. Also going to see what name he goes by these days. But
he's like you. He's got a couple to choose from.
Now, if you guys have a lot of the people are commenting on YouTube, asking about. There goes Keith. Asking about, can they call in, and I need to, you can call in. So if comment on the live stream, I can get you on the show, and you can let me know how many other ways that I'm wrong. You can say it in Spanish, whatever you need to do. All right. So right now, again, I'm calling.
You can even think that I'm wrong. I won't agree or admit it.
Right now, I'm calling Andres. What's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up, man? Good, man. You all right? Good.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah. So once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, and we have Andreas Butler on, longtime journalist with Dayton Times, Florida Courier. And now, Andreas, I actually met you at Bethune when I was covering Bethune-Cookman football team for the school newspaper. And
was that during your virgin freshman year?
Yeah, Andreas.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah. I see you out there doing your thing. Actually putting in some work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty aggressive at it. Most of the time, I mean, most of the kids at Cookman ain't always been as aggressive covering journalism and events around town, but hey, you was pretty good, young man. Pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, you had a recent interview with Ed Reed, and that's going to be released. Or when is that going to be released? Later this week, you said?
All right. It will be in the Dayton Times tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're going to post it on the Florida Courier website too. They'll probably be on the website tomorrow too as well. And also, we are a weekly publication, so we come out every Thursday. Mm-hmm. Technically, the Florida Courier comes out every Friday, but it's released out on Thursdays. And with the Florida Courier all around the state, and the Times is Daytona, and Daytona you get the Times, and you get the Courier.
Exactly. But they can also look that up online, because I actually looked up the Daytona Times and some of your recent articles online today. So that is good. Now, we're going to start here, right? What was your overall sense on Ed Reed as far as his temperament and as far as just his overall feeling right now?
Talk about when I met him.
No, let's
run it back.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to meet or hear from Ed, like from the time he took the job until your recent interview?
Now, Bethune-Cookman, they don't say nothing. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what, they don't really let us on campus. Matter of fact, they're not letting me on campus right now. But they really don't. They normally don't even talk to the Dayton Times. Mm-hmm. Now. So Ed Reed, all they did was release a statement today. He was the coach. I heard that he was around town. I figured, I guess I eventually run into him.
Okay.
And They had the protest on Monday. I went to go do the protest. I left when they marched off to the other side of campus over to, they said it was going to the athletic training center. And I had to leave. I had to go somewhere, do something, So I left. But as I was driving to a place where I had to go, I drive down MLK Boulevard. And guess who I see over at the car wash? Martin Luther King. Sitting down, talking to somebody who I know. And I'm like, whoa, that go Ed Reed. I'm finna start. I was actually on the phone with somebody. And I said, whoa, that go Ed Reed. I'm gonna go stop and talk to him.
All right.
So I stopped, talked to him, talked to the guy I knew that was right there with him. Talked to him. He said, yeah, man, what's up? Yeah, so yeah, man. He said, yeah, I'll give you an interview. He said, I just can't be on camera right now. So he talked to me.
Okay.
Got him probably like 4 or 5 minutes and was out.
Okay. Then was that your interview, or did you meet with him later and interview with more?
That was my interview.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was my interview.
Yeah, you called him. You just happened to run into him. That's a crazy story, man. That is a crazy story. So,
yeah, but you went to Cookman. You been in Daytona.
Right.
You know how it is. Daytona, small town.
Yeah, man.
You gonna run into somebody.
Yeah.
If they're there, you're gonna run into them eventually.
Yeah.
So kind of going to Bubba's question, like, what was your general impression of him, like his demeanor and just presence?
Well, he was cool. He was cool. He was laid back. He was genuine. He was passionate. Seems to have a genuine care and interest in what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really want to coach the kids. He really want to do something to help them and to help them change their lives. And during the interview, he kept saying, it's about the kids. It ain't about Eric. It's about the kids. He kept saying, go talk to the kids. Go interview these kids.
Right, right. And this is a group that he'd only literally been on the job for about 3 weeks and already developed a somewhat significant attachment to.
Yeah, actually, he has. Matter of fact, during the protest, one of the guys he was talking to the media. One of the quarterbacks on the team, name escapes me. Tyrone Franklin Jr., he was actually protesting. There's a couple football players out there. He was protesting, and he said, I won't read. That's who we want to be our coach.
Knowing, I guess, the environment over in Daytona and being familiar with Bethune, like, is there any way that the decision gets reversed and he stays in light of protest?
No. I'm being told that they have a coach
ready to go.
I'm being told they have a coach. If they don't have a coach, they will announce the coach within the next couple of days. Okay. Matter of fact, when they're on the interim president's release, he said they expect to have a coach by the end of the week and within 10 days. I'm being told it's going to be at the end of the week.
Wow.
So that's 2 days, basically.
So what? So Ed Reed, and this the latest news that we heard, he's still in town and he's still fighting for this, and he's trying to get a meeting with the president. So, is that the last thing you heard? Is he still in town? You think
he is still in town? I've heard that he was on somewhere on the beach side last night, and this girl had to go dancing someplace on the beach side. I'm thinking it's the Ocean Deck because that's wherever I go. They got the dance floor, you got the live band to play the reggae music. That's what I'm thinking about. I heard he was in town. But if you read my interview, he said he was probably going to leave, but my article, but he said he probably was going to leave, but I heard he was still in town.
Now, did Ed, did he retain any of the prior coaching staff, or did he bring in?
As a matter of fact, what Reggie Fields said on HBCU game day today when he was with Brian Wilson, he said that, I don't think I guess you guys didn't see the interview. He said that he retained 2 coaches to kind of, open things up and show Ed Reed around. I'm actually watching it again right here on YouTube on my television.
Okay,
so it was 2 coaches that was. So it was apparently some coach. So apparently Theus has been online saying that there was 2 coaches that was left
that were retained from the prior staff, and the rest were all new guys that Ed brought in.
Yeah, apparently, as he brought in coach, probably didn't have everybody. I'm not sure if he had his whole entire coaching staff with him, but I'm sure he had some people with him.
Now, kind of going back to the beginning of this, I mean, when I first heard about the Ed Reed hire, my first instinct was, man, this is going to be Deion's legacy in HBCU football, in that it's going to be a pathway for high-profile football people to get head coaching experience at HBCUs, and the HBCU will benefit from the increased brand recognition that somebody like Deion or Ed Reed brings in. And he may only be there a couple years, but they'll kind of both use each other, the school and Ed, to get what they want out of the deal. Do you have a different opinion on like what went into the hire of Ed Reed, why he was the guy?
Well, I know it's a big name. I know it was a big name. I know they needed a big name. Thune-Cookman, if you look at recent history of Thune-Cookman, you know that Thune-Cookman has some trouble. They have some financial issues. You know, they got the dorm deal, the lawsuit from that, lawsuits with former coaches, former instructors, the Alumni Association and the school are kind of suing each other right now, and there's a lot of schools been in debt, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of stuff, and you know, I mean, come on, Bubba, you went
Right.
went to Cookman,
Right.
you know what is not was not there in two and
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, you know, but Ed Reed, his name recognition was going to bring some. It definitely was going to bring some good players in.
So
He's going to get some recruits. Already had some recruits. They say he had 30 recruits on campus Friday night.
Wow. One of the things that people have said, though, one of our guys, is that the light that Ed Reed was going to bring to the university was something that maybe made the university uncomfortable because of some of the things you just mentioned, ongoing litigation, some financial issues within the school, and that in a weird way that this was almost really a bad mix for that reason.
Well, I grew up in Daytona Beach. I know about Bethune-Cookman. I've got family members that went to Bethune-Cookman. I got people in Daytona Beach. Most people in Daytona have a love for Bethune-Cookman. Most people that went to school have a love for Cookman, but there are some negative tones to it, Cookman, when it comes to, and Cookman does have a separation from the community that it didn't have in the past. But also, I tell you this, my first job out of college, I graduated from UCF over there. When I graduated from college and came from UCF, I first came back to Daytona. My first job, I worked in housekeeping at Bethune-Cookman. I cleaned the gym. And I know how they can be on people sometimes. And Bethune is a place that right now, the last couple of years, Bethune just don't like anything negative. You can't say anything about the university. Have you seen some of these interviews and stuff? Y'all been watching the Roland Martin show? Some of the things the kids are coming out and saying. Some of the things I've been doing lawsuit stories on the Alumni Social thing. They have kids signing non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. Matter of fact, they admitted that on the Roland Martin show today. The young lady on homecoming court, right. And matter of fact, they got suspended because they did something that the school didn't like. They couldn't march. They wasn't on the football field the whole year.
Well, you mentioned a few minutes ago that like you're kind of like persona non grata on campus. What is that? How did that start?
Listen, they don't. All right, just over the years, some of the articles that we've done, and some of the editorials that we've done, they've been upset about it. So they basically taking us off of campus. The newspaper's no longer on campus. They don't really they've kind of really shunned the media out, and they definitely haven't really responded to the Daytona Times. Like, when they do respond, we're like, well, we're going to get a statement, or we don't have a comment at this time. But really, they don't talk to us. Now, you can ban the newspaper off of campus, but me, growing up in Daytona Beach, I know how to get on campus. It don't take much to get on campus.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And what these kids talking about is true. Something is the security issue. Sometimes it don't take much to walk up there to get up there.
Bubba was very concerned. Have you ever seen a live crackhead on campus?
Man, yes, I have. Bubba, you have too.
I
right?
said, nah, this is what I said. This is what I said before, like in the pre-show. But I said, it's only two
But most
people.
of the time, if they there, they just walking.
They
through.
just,
Most of the time,
yeah, they just walking through.
Yeah.
They're not bothering nobody if they are. But it's only two people that know what a crackhead is. That's one person that has, if you see a person doing crack, you know that they a crackhead. And the other person that knows what a crackhead is if they sold crack for a absorbent amount of years. Because Daytona, Daytona is the black side of Daytona is a poor place. You know what I mean? So a lot of the old,
and Bethune-Cookman sits in one of the poorest areas
yes.
in all of Volusia County. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, and it's an open
Everybody
campus.
knows that. It's an open campus, and plus Bethune-Cookman has a lot of land. Bethune-Cookman owns like 18 acres of land. Over the years, they've been buying up property. A lot of that land that they have. Matter of fact, that where the athletic training center is, and the stuff where Ed Reed talking about behind the building with the trash and stuff, Bethune-Cookman didn't own that land probably about 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Now I got two quick questions to ask you too. One is, I've been my stance one of my stances has been the storm, the hurricanes, the back-to-back. One was a storm, the other one was a hurricane that came through Daytona. It really did, it set Bethune-Cookman back. Now, if it was a bigger school, they would have had the resources to come in, clean everything up, get everything right away. But how big of an impact do you think those storms had? And
those storms had a huge impact. Them two hurricanes have literally destroyed much of Daytona. They destroyed much of Daytona. I mean, Daytona, we got flood-prone areas and red oak. A lot of places flooded out. A lot of businesses closed. The hurricanes was bad here. The hurricanes bad. You got people that are still displaced that don't have homes, living in hotels. People living with family members. People that moved out the state. You got people that are still living in the hotels. You got people that lost everything. All their houses flooded out, all that kind of stuff. And some of these people probably work at Bethune-Cookman. I'm sure the people that work at Bethune-Cookman is displaced by the hurricane right now.
And I was where I was going to go with that is that when somebody from another part of the country, even another part of the state, is listening to Ed Reed or tapping into this story, they're not going to appreciate the effect that the storms had on the campus and the city overall without having that level of familiarity with the situation.
Yeah, it was a lot of damage. The school got a lot of damage. A lot of the town got damaged, and it's just like. Plus, Bubba, you've been here. Like, it's certain parts of Daytona. If it's any heavy rain, it's going to flood.
Yeah, it is.
Any heavy rain. There's places on Beach Street over there. That area floods over here by Madison. That area floods over here in what we call the hood over here. Over on the by Orange Avenue, all that, Loomis Avenue, all that stuff over the Palmetto Park and Caroline Village community. They flood all that behind Campbell and South Street. Flood. All this stuff was underwater, man. Especially the first hurricane. Even downtown had water. Had flooded and stuff too. Remember the vegan restaurant over on B Street?
Right on B Street.
Yeah, they flooded. They flooded twice.
I don't know nothing about vegan restaurants.
And my second question was, when you listen to Ed Reed, especially in his Roland Martin interview there, he talked about Reggie Theus, about him being such a really evil man, but he was going into the detail about
Reggie
Theus. Right.
Yes, that's what he said. He called
the basketball guy?
Yeah. That's what I just told you.
Reggie Theus is athletic director. He's the athletic director at Bethune-Cookman too.
Right.
No,
He's
you
the
mentioned
AD and
athletic director. I didn't realize it was Reggie Theus.
Yeah, he's the AD and basketball
He was
coach,
he was like a better basketball version of Rick Fox.
Yeah.
Kind of like a suave, light-skinned guy.
What has been your experiences with Reggie? And what is your overall feeling on him?
I mean, my experience with Reggie has been good. We've talked, we've conversated. We've done, I've done interviews with him. He's told me he kept me access to athletics. My experience with him has been good. I have a favorable opinion of Reggie.
How long has Reggie been the AD and basketball coach?
He's been there for 2 years. He came right during the pandemic. This is his second season being the athletic director and coach.
Okay.
His second season.
Now, I mean, from what you've said, you really paint the university as being kind of a very sort of closed off, almost paranoid place as far as it relates to like media interactions and stuff like that. Did you find Reggie to be a bit of an outlier in that regard and a little bit more open than the university as a whole?
Well, you see, no, I don't think that he's more open. I think he's, but from me meeting him and dealing with him, I think he's more down to earth than I would think, than I thought that he would be for, some of his stats, being a former athlete, being, a celeb and all that kind of stuff. He's more down to earth. He surprised me more down to earth. But as for more openness, nah, Bethune-Cookman just not, they're just not an open place. It's just not open.
Can you blame them though? With all of as you laid out, everything they're going through with the lawsuits and with the just in the media itself, you said you guys have written.
Well, I can't blame. Well, look, a lot of stuff that's going on though. A lot of stuff has to do with. A lot of problems have to do with Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
No, it's two sides to every stone. Have they had students and alumni that did stuff that they weren't supposed to do? Tarnish the school's name and image and stuff like that? Yes, but Bethune-Cookman leadership, particularly in these last years, or these last couple of decades, has warranted a lot of stuff that's what's going on. Because they've made these decisions that put the university in these binds.
That's what's coming through for me.
Yeah.
And I the more the more he's spoke, I really see a sort of a paranoid institution that is not owning up to their mistakes, that's not doing a good job of getting in front of the narrative and trying to rebuild its reputation and its credibility in the community and beyond that. When you're shutting down,
they don't like negativity. They don't like anything bad getting out. But see,
who else doesn't like? You know who else doesn't like negativity? That guy with the shitty haircut in North Korea.
Kim Jong. Yeah.
But that's what you had. That's what you're describing the situation is.
And that's what saying. Truth be told, they need new leadership. They need new leadership. They need new board trustees. They need let a new president come in and do what he's supposed to do, run operation school, let the board do the oversight. They just need that.
Why not?
With Bethune-Cookman, the whole thing with Bethune-Cookman has always been like, okay, what's the transparency? Everybody says, what's transparency? What's transparency? But there is none. I don't hate Bethune-Cookman. I'm from Dayton. Now, trust me, I got some family members that's probably going to try to jump on me, hit me over here, and probably get mad at something I said. Somebody might hear something I say tonight and be pissed off. But guess what? I don't care.
Well, why not put Ed Reed in charge of the whole school and get the board of directors out there picking up trash?
No.
But, it goes back to the dynamics of Daytona. I'm dealing with this thing. I've heard different things, too, about the whole thing too, and did they know? Because now somebody said something. I heard somebody was saying that if they knew who Ed Reed was, he likes stuff to be clean. One of the guys on this podcast was talking about that he was about to get in fist fights with teammates in Miami and with the Ravens and stuff too, because of cleaning the way he thinks should be clean. Like if the trash can's in the receptacle, you throw your towel on the floor instead of putting it in the receptacle. Now that was my first time hearing that, but. If it's like that, but it's still a lot of questions. Like, why would he come up there when he didn't have a contract and that kind of stuff too? Yes. Why the contract ain't get done? There's a lot of and from my opinion, but most people think once the first post came out, it couldn't do the contract, couldn't proceed with the contract. If you go back and you look at Thea's interview today with Ron Wilson on HBCU Game Day, you'll see some of this stuff starting to come out.
What I was going to ask, did you ever get an understanding of whether Ed actually visited campus or toured campus prior to accepting the job?
Yes, someone told me. I've heard that he visited campus before accepting the job.
But on that
you
trip,
go back
right?
now, but listen, now you gotta go back and watch the Vaughn Wilson and sit down. Reggie Fils was saying this stuff on the HBCU game day interview he did with Vaughn Wilson.
Right. Well, what did he say? What did he say in regards to that?
I think he was saying about something that Ed accepted the job. He's like, he's looking for a place to live, and he didn't expect him to be on campus. I think that's what the thing is. I don't think that the administration or board of trustees, anyone thought that Ed was actually going to be on campus once he came to the agreement with the. I don't think anybody thought he was going to be on the campus at the time.
Like you're saying he got to campus before the university thought he would?
Yeah.
I mean, you get hired, you got to recruit. You had the December.
I'm thinking he probably came before they expected him.
Okay.
He probably did.
Yeah, because
you got to understand, it was coming out of that Christmas break, New Year's break. Don't want a lot of people on campus. Probably just basketball team and track team or whatever.
So
they were probably traveling one, but.
Right. No, I understand. We got one comment at Edis by Keith. He's saying he don't like how quiet Bubba is. Because my take, listen, Andreas, my take was.
Bubba alumni. Bubba should have something to say.
My take was, man.
Bubba was a lot louder last week.
Yeah, I didn't like how Ed Reed, how those videos had surfaced. It was, and it's multi-layered. The very first thing was what Pink just asked you about was, did he visit the campus? Everything Ed says, it everything he rants about, it stems back to it, and what it looks like is he never visited the campus before he accepted the position. He doesn't know what the HBCU football culture is like, and what a lot of these schools struggle with financially. And third, he had no idea the impact the storms had, which would impact what the field looks like and things of that nature. And then fourth is what is happening now. What I knew would happen as soon as those videos would surface is that people would hop on the train and start saying ludicrous stuff that people like Edis Bakis, who only follows Cookman when there's something negative going on, they'll hop on the train and believe. Like, you got the guy on Twitter saying, "Oh, my 3 sons shared helmets." Then you got Ed Reed saying they never had a practice field
that's
here.
True, right?
That's not. That's not true. I call football players.
It's true.
Hold on.
It's true. Listen.
Okay,
listen. It's football players.
Yes.
That have told people in the community.
Yes.
And the people in the community know about it. But the issue is, why they had mold in the helmets and stuff like that. You know why, right?
I was just getting there, but you can go ahead and tell them.
Because they equipment is in the shed off campus.
Yes.
They have an equipment trailer that's off shed camp out there at the stadium. Like Ed Reed say, they go practice at the stadium. They're driving how many miles the stadium is away from campus, way on the other side on the outskirts of town. They're driving there each and every day. The stadium belongs to the city, and you have other teams that's using that stadium. You got 2 high schools that play on the regular. You got Pop Warner teams, they play a game out there every year. So they can't really have their stuff in the locker room because them out-of-town teams going to definitely come and steal something.
Right.
And so, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if they shared helmets. I wouldn't be surprised if stuff moved out because stuff was out there side in that trailer and there was no ventilation.
Yes. You said don't be surprised. But the football players that I spoke with said that's just not accurate. The only time they have ever shared helmets is when they were moving to a different helmet, alternate.
I know they got 1,000, and they got 1,000 uniforms like the Oregon Ducks.
Right.
Oregon Ducks for black college football.
Exactly. So when they switching over, but also,
I know alumni that want to see more maroon and gold on the field instead of all that black and gray.
Yeah, we do. It just looks better and it goes with the marching band. But hold on. But then also, secondly, it's the players that hardly ever get in. You know what I mean? It's not like the running back and the linebacker is sharing helmets.
That wasn't playing, yeah. I heard that too.
I know what I'm saying? It's not. So without context, it sounds terrible without context. But when you give it context, it's not that it makes sense, but we lack funding, we lack resources. So you know what I mean? Now hold on. Now, did you see the president's? Did you see his interview on
Yes, I did.
That's the first time I ever heard sentiment of transparency, right? And now they're in trouble, so he got to throw out.
Because a lot of stuff that he said, it wasn't. See, I don't think Drake been there as long as some of the other people that know some more of the problems. He came on, save face like he should, have things, quell some things down, but. I mean, people just telling. There's people saying that he ain't telling the truth, and like Reggie Spears went back and said, if you go watch the Vaughn Wilson thing, HBCU game, he said, no, we don't have locker rooms on campus. No, we don't have showers on campus. For them, they have showers in their rooms, but they don't have like a locker room and showers like that. Right. We don't have a practice. They practice in that Daytona Stadium.
Yeah, but they always had a practice field. Like they practice. Right there behind
but they don't practice. I know exactly where they practice.
Yeah, so but they have to.
I used to go watch them practice.
Exactly. So, but again, without the context, it sounds so terrible.
I take my son out there to listen to the band.
Right. The band used to practice right behind it.
They practice right behind. The band still practice there, but the football team don't practice there.
Right. But you got these guys like Edis Marquise. They don't know the context of why it's not.
There used to be like an air-conditioned trailer out there that they had all the locker room equipment.
Keith says there's video evidence of players sharing helmets during a game against the U.
Again,
they ain't seen the video. They ain't show me. So.
Yeah, players that don't really get in the game probably had to share helmets, like special teams or something like that. Maybe, but the football players I spoke with said that wasn't accurate. But
they probably had to share helmets this year. It probably was because of most situations because they had the equipment out there in the heat with no ventilation.
Right. If it's this year, I mean, we trying to explain what's going on here this year. No, seriously though. But when you got everything that's messed up, like you said, from the storms or from or whatever the case may be, even before that.
Like, you do gotta give it to them. They was displaced. They was displaced for about 3.5 weeks of the season. They were that probably that probably played into it too a little bit. Yeah,
right.
Played into it. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's tough that the kids have to deal with that, but it's. Exactly. It's tough, but like I said, the hurricane did something. The hurricane did some damage here. That first hurricane really did some damage here.
In your mind, though, is Ed Reed getting tossed out of this position a loss for the university or a win?
Well, either way, Ed Reed's experience. His short time at Bethune-Cookman was a blessing in disguise.
How so?
I'm going to tell you why.
Please do.
Because he he pointed out some issues that people have been scared to speak up about for years. Because, you can't talk bad about the university. You can't air dirty laundry. So he did it. And then once what happened to him, the kid's student body is like it lit a fire in the student body. Like, fuck it, we ain't dealing with this no more. I forget it. We ain't dealing with this no more. We ain't having this no more. We won't change. We're going to get this right. So he lit a fire in the kids. Got them active. They demanded what they deserve. Quality education. Quality college experience. They don't need to be retaliated against when they have an issue with the university that they feel. I mean, if you go and read my story on the Florida Courier and Daytona Times, this is some of the stuff that these kids are saying.
Yeah, I think it's
shocking.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think like the fact that this has really resonated to the student body at large, and the student body at large has real issues that they're bringing up, is fascinating. And I'll be honest with you, I'm fearful that there will be retribution against the students that speak out. The way you've described this university operating, I would be very concerned about retribution if I'm a student involved in protesting.
Yeah. There's some of a lot of them were, but because some of them didn't get their last, a lot of them didn't even get their last names.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I just gave first names. I was doing first name. A lot of people did interviews. Like I did on camera interviews, but some people didn't want to be interviewed on camera.
Right.
Some people, first name. What's your last name? No. My name is just such and such. I mean, and it's shocking. These young women, somewhere between 18 to 24 years old, mostly. So you're like, okay, whoa, what are you afraid of as a child?
Yeah.
In school. Because, I know Cookman's is a small school, private school, but see, I went to a predominantly white institution, went to UCF. And I say they protest everything. They protest everything. When George O'Leary was hired as a football coach, they found out what he was making. We're going to protest. We ain't got no classes and we can't graduate because my field is, my track is filled and it ain't no classes. We do protest. George Bush come there, protest. Clinton come, protest.
Wow.
No, exactly, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are your last thoughts before we let you go on the situation and what do you see it going from here?
Well, all right, I don't see Ed Reed becoming a good coach, becoming this team's football coach. I think Ed was genuine in what he wanted to do in his vision, that kind of stuff too, but his vision ain't on par with the university. I think once he came out and said, once he got on the social media, and he said he didn't post it, but once he got out on there, that was a wrap. You just couldn't be there. But I think the school's going to lose money that they would have got. I think they're going to lose recruits they would have got, top notch recruits. Because now, whichever this coach come in, this is a harder job. Now, I've heard some people that they wanted to be the coach have turned down the job. And they got to hurry up and recruit because National Signing Day right around the corner, which your whole team going to be transfer portal, has been transfer portal. But you got to get kids in school, and the spring is like right around the corner.
Isn't it like a week
So the school is also because they're already behind. They're behind the curve.
Yeah.
They're behind the curve. But hopefully for the school, they can get somebody, they can get a coach that can come in that can go ahead and be a bridge builder and build and bridge some of these gaps and go ahead and build the program to where it comes. Hopefully he can do it faster than slower. But whoever come in, he's in a tough position. He or she, whatever it is, they're in a tough position.
Really tough.
I'll fall over if they
They're in a
hire
tough
a
position.
woman
If I'm a
head
coach, I wouldn't want to take this job.
I know the alumni right now is pushing for Matt Johnson. You remember Matt? He used to be a
I remember
quarterback.
Matt Johnson. But Matt's coaching high school.
Yeah, I know. But they
I see Matt.
the key, what they're saying. The word is he's applied and he's one of the finalists or whatever. Or not
No,
finalists,
Evan White. No, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that. He's finalist.
not a finalist, but he's one of the people being considered. I want to.
I haven't heard his name.
Yeah.
But check this out. I know Evan White wants to come back and coach.
Nah.
But he's not going to be coach. But he did say he wanted to come back.
Nah. If Brian Jenkins wanted to come back, I'll go and grab him myself. I loaded the charter. He right there in Duval in Jacksonville.
No, I like the Jenkins, though.
Yeah.
I like the Jenkins.
I think he's the best coach in Bethune-Cookman history. And he didn't play in the NFL. You know what I mean? He didn't have any NFL ties, but, he in a short period of time, he won 3 championships.
Got a lot of people like Wyatt and some of the old coaches back in the
old school. I know.
Matthews, all of them, yeah.
They was there for 20, 30 years and got the same amount of championships as Jenkins in 3 years,
But it feels like, again, a lot of times in life, in situations, you're going to have an overreaction. So they go outside the box and hire a name, and it's gone horribly wrong for them.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go very safe.
Yeah.
In the replacement coach.
Yeah, probably somebody that played or coached at Cookman before. So yeah. Wyatt wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, what's Wyatt now?
No, he's not. He's not going. He's not going to get it. He's not going. He's not going to be the coach.
Yeah. We can't do that. But man,
I heard some names, but I haven't been able to confirm anything. So,
right.
We'll see. Hey, we're supposed to know in next couple of days.
Yeah. It's about to go down.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time, man. Andres, they can find you.
All right, man. No problem, man.
They can find your articles online on DaytonaTimes.com and the Florida Courier, correct?
Yeah. Sometimes I do some stuff for D-Focus News, and that's about it.
All right. Well, we get some more news. I'll hit you up to get you back on. All right.
All right, man. No problem, man. All right, y'all take care, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for dropping in.
All right.
All right.
Let's get to this comment box once again, man. You guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including right here on YouTube. We do have some breaking news here. Our main man, Carver's Dirt. Now I'm gonna tell you something about Carver's. I I hadn't set this feature up yet, so I don't even know how he was able to. But he gave us $10 in the super chat. I thought didn't have it set up yet, but maybe I did. So shout out to Carver's giving our very first super chat here to help us keep going along with this podcast because it's not free. And I can tell you we're not making money from it. So shout out to Carver's helping us continue on here on the podcast. He said, "What's up, family? Dropping through to show support. They should let Ed slide, especially after I think he meant to say they shouldn't let Ed slide, especially after he apologized.
Yeah.
Reggie Theus said no chance. They revisit Ed Reed as coach. I disagree with that decision.
Yeah, so in context, it had to be they shouldn't let him slide.
Right. And and Ed did apologize. As a matter of fact, he apologized almost right away. Reggie Theus and the president said that there's no way that they revisit Ed.
Man, that interview right there that we had, that makes me side with Ed Reed even more. I really, I was a little on the fence, but I really feel that if they, it's apparent they don't want any meaningful change. But if they do, you got to go with Ed. And you got to say, hey, we have problems. We own our problems. And we're going to go forward. Coach wasn't the most articulate in the way he said it, but he ain't wrong. Let's build from this. Let's do something different. But the mentality, like just their interactions with the media and all that in general beyond the scope of football, really just to me speaks to a dysfunctional organization. And I know, like you kind of said, when you're HBCU, some of this just comes with the territory. But that's a mentality.
No, not any of that. Not in relations to that.
Okay.
But did you have?
No, I was going to say, but like if you're not willing to kind of progress beyond any of that, you're just going to be stuck in this place. There's going to be no progress.
But my thing is also like no progress in regards to. So a couple of things that you're saying that our caller Andrea said. Number one, limited media coverage on campus. Right.
Yeah.
And not only just on campus, but when the media reaches out for comments, for interviews, they're saying, "Hey, here's our official statement," or "We don't have a comment at this time."
Right.
Right. You're saying a lot of that in regards to that.
Yeah. I don't like that mentality.
So this is my thing about that. They have. So Andreas, before that, he mentioned how they have a lot of editorial pieces pretty much detailing what has been going on with Bethune as far as the financial issues with the lawsuits and things of that nature. So I don't know. I can see from their side, I can see them saying, hey, we don't need, the last thing we need is more negative coverage. If we have this paper here, that all they do is detail negative stuff about us, then let's just not give them further fuel to write more negative coverage. I'm saying if that's their side, I can see that.
I can see that, but what I'm telling you is that we live in a world of communication and a world of narratives.
Yeah.
And if you're kind of a circle the wagons, hunker down, not give them anything they're going to throw back in our face type of thing and just kind of weather the storm, that's a defensive negative thing, and it lets people run wild with narratives. Mm-hmm. But when you get in front of the microphone, and I know, like in a pending lawsuit, you can't go in a lot of detail. I get that. But when you have a leader or whatever that can step in front of a microphone, and again, you're not going to respond to every question, but like, hey, there's a lot going on. I'm going to step up and speak for the university here. I'm the president of the university, or whoever that designated person is.
Yeah.
You get in front of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, we've had some things that have gone wrong. We're changing. Like politicians do it all the time. Sometimes
they have.
Well, it doesn't seem like that. Like when you're
talking, they have many of
when you're talking about a media member, and that's the type of behavior.
But they've given them the statements.
Statements are horse crap.
Yeah, but they're
garbage.
saying exactly what you're asking
there's
for.
different, man. We statements are not good enough. You have
so
to
what,
stand
what would you like?
Something.
What would you like them to detail? It's not specific talking points. I'm talking about what would you like them like? Oh, okay, we're fixing this.
What I'm saying is you need to put a face in front of that. And then whatever your plan is, whatever your objective is, or how you're handling a situation, having a face, stand there and say something face to face. Like, think about it. Like when there's any sort of like level of controversy, even with some of the Kyrie stuff, it's like, when a person under duress like releases a statement, you just kind of look at it and go, okay, you probably didn't write that. Somebody helped you write it, blah, blah, blah. But when somebody stands in front of a camera and says, in one way or another, I'm the university president. We are
when they're under duress, or beforehand.
When they're under duress.
Well, they're under duress now, and the president did that for 2 hours.
In this particular instance, it was okay. But what I'm responding to is what he was describing, sort of as this just circle the wagons culture around the university. And when I'm hearing that, I'm saying that's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign, and it's not. But okay, so what do we do with the full transparency the president has given now? Is that
about
about everything?
The Roland Martin thing.
Yeah. And I'm going to play some clips from it.
Please do. And again, that's probably a big step in the right direction.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm getting ready to play. The problem is, as soon as I press it, it's going to start playing. So I just want to say, what I got from the full interview is the interim president with Roland Martin. There wasn't a
he's the interim
concern.
President?
He's just only the interim president.
Okay.
The interim president. Yeah. There wasn't a concern or question that wasn't answered. And he offered details. He offered how much money they have, what they plan to do with it, what's the reason for these things that happened in the past, what's the reason for the things that's happening now. And these are just a couple of clips I'm going to play.
We go in sequence. You have the Ed Reed fiasco, as it were, and now we have the president standing up and saying something.
Yeah, but as far as this is concerned,
for the crowd that wants to recognize Ed Reed as perhaps saying things that needed to be said, like this is almost plays into that.
But it seemed like common sense, even to me, a small mind like me, is saying it, everything the president is saying outside of how much money they have and what they're going to do with it. The stuff that Ed Reed was specifically talking about was common sense.
Well,
it wasn't. I don't think you need a face of the university to come out beforehand, before Ed Reed's fiasco, and say, "Hey, we had 2 hurricanes here. That may be why trash is on the ground," and things like those students were there. The people in Daytona were there. They was there during the storm. The students that were sent home, they know they were sent home. The players that couldn't come back to the campus, and that the Bethune-Cookman spent money on paying for hotels and food, like they were there in that situation. The parents.
Okay, come again with this though. Ed was hired allegedly like 3 weeks ago. Why had we not seen Ed at the lectern with the university president and Reggie Theus with a proper press conference? What's that about?
Well, from what Ed is saying is that there were things in the contract that that they were toggling about, and that's as far as where the money was going to be allocated to.
Okay.
All right. And like the president is saying, hey, we have this $100 million, and yes, the previous plan was to spend more money on the sports program, mainly the football program, than we had planned. But these 2 storms set us back tremendously. We got mold in dorm rooms. We have this, we got that. We have to fix these things. We have, the practice field is messed up. This is messed up. We're getting these things fixed. And hey, Ed, whatever's left over, okay, that's probably you. And that's not going to meet what you have in this contract.
And again, speak like the norm. Let me
play this because this is going to solve.
This is after the fact.
It's not after the fact. The president's telling you he's in the interview with the coach and he's telling him all of that.
No, that's not the point I'm making. When you hire a coach, there is a press conference. And here's the reality.
They didn't officially hire him. That's why it wasn't a press conference.
Then handle that differently.
Handle what?
Then get Ed off campus. Why is he on campus doing things?
He should be on campus.
Probably not doing stuff. But not if he ain't hired.
They didn't tell him to do that. What are you supposed to do? Kick him off? Now it's a whole new story. What, I'm supposed to have police come out and kick Ed Reed off campus because he's not hired?
Then what you said, then again, to stay in front of this, because, from the national perspective, it was basically, you guys hired Ed Reed.
Yeah.
That was the narrative.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not that simple, and you got Ed here working when he not really in charge, no contract, whatever, and it's lingering on a couple of weeks, why not have a presser? We've and say exactly what he said here. The campus has been devastated by the storm. We're going through some budgetary issues. We're working closely with Ed to arrive at a financial agreement that will make him the head coach with the resources to do what we believe he can do.
Yeah, let me play because you said why. The answer to that is because they had agreed to principle, and the guy that's with Ed Reed, he says, hey, we agreed. We had a man-to-man agreement. Post the issues we had with the contract, that Ed was going to become the head coach and everything was fine. And then the next day is when Ed did the videos, right? So, again, I'm not saying there was no mistakes made.
Right.
Bethune-Cookman shouldn't have came out and said Ed Reed's our coach.
Right.
At the same time, that's not about national, because Ed Reed was on his IG first and said, hey, I'm the new coach of Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
And then Bethune-Cookman said, hey, just because Ed Reed does that doesn't mean Bethune-Cookman has to release a statement saying Ed Reed is our coach. So that was a mistake, bad. They shouldn't have done that until the contract was signed. I do agree.
Or you could, there's different ways to handle it. Like I said, you could have kind of had an intermediary sort of press conference where university says, hey, here's the plan. We are looking to go with Ed and whatever. It's controlling the narrative and not letting Ed run wild, not letting whoever run wild. It's your story. It's your school.
But once he does run wild,
then you have to deal with it. I get that.
Yeah, you have to deal with it. And it was their decision to say, hey, this is not the person we want to face off our athletic.
And I don't disagree with that, but I'm looking at this as, like when you look at it, Ed Reed brings a certain package, but the university is its own package, and it almost feels like the university is not adept or attuned to modern day communications. Mm-hmm. And that's a failing of the university. I'm not saying wipe them off the map or anything, but like they got to own that part of it. And if they want to be the institution that their alumni can be proud of, they got to change that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. All right. So let me play. First, I'll play. I have clips from both, from Ed Reed and from the president. But let's play a couple of clips from the president first, and then we'll react to what he's saying. Here we go.
Actually, starting in December, we were working on a contract for naming Ed Reed as the head coach. I interviewed Ed, and I had three important things that I asked him to ensure that he was willing to do as part of becoming part of the Wildcat family. One was, I needed him to really understand that we were a Christian institution, that behavior and character were clearly our priorities. And I asked him if that was okay with him. Could he abide by that? Could he, position himself as a role model for our student athletes as well as for the university itself? He indicated he would. Second question I asked is, well, great, I'm glad you're willing to do that. I need to know if you're also willing to build the kind of program that will allow you, because you've not been a coach before. This is an opportunity for you to be a head coach your first time. The university is giving you an opportunity to do that. And therefore, we want to surround you with the kind of people that can draw the X and O's and help you become a stronger coach. He said, I get that. And I'm willing to do that. The third thing is, as I said, this is not the University of Miami, it's not the NFL. We just came through 2 hurricanes, $6 million worth of damage. Much of what we've been working on for the last year and a half is improvements not only to the university's infrastructure, but also a long-term investment plan. We have about $100 million that we need to invest in the university over the next several years. We said to him, look, you're going to become part of that. Are you open to helping us do that and build a program? He said yes to that. So when we saw the first video, criticizing the university and saying, well, it's trashy and my office is dirty and all that, first of all, he wasn't an employee of the university, and he had not an office. When the last staff moved out, we started renovating that building. Everything from the coaches' rooms to the other places. We had given him some permission that he really took to the next level. First of all, he wasn't authorized to take video. He wasn't authorized to do any of those things, but he did them anyway. The university had to take responsibility for that because it happened. But quiet as kept, that isn't the kind of behavior that we would expect. And then the expletives and the
was.
Okay, so that was that first clip there of him, just talking about, what really went on during the interview with him and Ed, and then basically what how things fell apart in the end. The next clip is going to it's basically a continuation of the first one. He's saying what really did it. What was the straw that that broke the camel's back, if you will, for lack of better terms. But just talking about that clip right there, because I saw it and I was just telling you about the things that he has said. I was basically just echoing what he had just said, but really, over the last 5 minutes.
I thought I would have, if I was him, I would have said the points in 3 different ways. Mm-hmm. I would have put the hurricane part first, mm-hmm. and as an atheist, I would have left out the Christian University part, but whatever. And then the football part I found almost peculiar. Mm-hmm. We want to surround you with X and O people because you haven't been a head coach.
Basically, I want to hire your staff for you. That's
which is weird. Yeah. You're a university president. What the hell do you know about X and O's?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And that was almost patronizing to me.
Yeah.
I thought that was really a bizarre statement in isolation. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I'm Ed Reed, that's what I would do. I mean, I would hire, some X and O guys. I would hire guys that fill my weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like I coach. I am not a really good technical skills coach. Mm-hmm. It's not my strong suit. I'm better game management. I'm better team building and whatever. So if I'm putting together a staff, I know I need to have some skill development guys that are really good at that because that's not me. And Ed would will hopefully have the self-awareness to do that. But for the university president to sit in front of me and tell me that's what I need, mm-hmm. that's a little weird. That's a little weird. And like again, what was the option? Like we want to surround you, mm-hmm. so you're going to hire X and O guys. I would be like this. My thing would be, hey, we know you haven't had a head coaching job before. I want to be comfortable that you are selecting people that address your shortcomings. Mm-hmm. Maybe a staff with some X and O guys. Maybe a staff that has a guy or two that have some extensive head coaching experience. I would like to see you go that direction, and I would be very intent on listening to his response. Nah, bro, I've got this. Or like, hey, absolutely, that was my plan. But I'm not. I thought the way he delivered that was extremely patronizing.
All right. Anything else before we go to the next clip?
No.
All right.
The second video, what was the final straw? What caused it where you made the decision that we're not moving forward with Ed Reed as coach?
I think the final straw was actually the third or fourth video, one with the background music being booties, butts, and boobs, and hoes. And we have 65% of our campus is female. And my view is that we are trying to build young men to respect black women. We're trying to build a culture where they understand that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build, that we have companies and partners like Disney and some of our other partners calling saying, what are you going to do about that? We can't support that kind of image. And of course, they're one of our biggest sponsors for the Classic.
So you're saying Disney, officials with Disney called you complaining about Ed Reed and saying we can't support Bethune-Cookman if he's going to represent the university.
They didn't say we can't. They questioned what we were going to do. And I think that was an appropriate way to approach it. But they weren't the only.
So were they implying that they would pull support if he continues as head coach?
I think that as a leader, you have to make the decision. And if they are inquiring, they have a vested interest. They believe in the image that they want to project. And you have to think, what are the possible outcomes of you continuing to do what you're doing on the screen?
Okay. So that was that clip. Now, again, just quickly going over what he was saying about the Classic and about Disney, about that. What's interesting is when you're already struggling financially, and your biggest sponsor by 1,000 miles, they call, that does mean something. Now, I didn't know that until I watched this. Again, this is post the video, so this is early as he could say it maybe. But also, I didn't know that he made so many videos. I saw the two. Like, I didn't even see that one that they put up on the screen.
I didn't even.
Apparently, there was 5 videos.
Yes, I didn't even realize that. I literally thought it was like one video. In a way, like
no, they're different, and they're. Yeah. I mean, it could be one longer, but each time he's in a different place. Now maybe it's over an hour, and then he's moving along.
Yeah.
But each time they show a clip, he's somewhere different. He's in a car, or he's picking up trash, or he's in a car.
He's like Forrest Gump. He just pops up everywhere.
And this is the thing. Like I literally did not know he made so many videos.
I didn't know either. Yeah.
Like come on, man. Like again, not to go back to the white and black thing, but you're just not going to do this at Duke University or University and think you're going to keep a job or get a job. It's just not happening. I have a master's degree. I can't do that to McDonald's if I'm going to for $9 an hour. If I do that, they're just not going to hire me. Like, this is not going to happen. But I literally did not know it was that many videos. And come on, man. You got, and I'm going to play, Ed has a response to that specific video where it's booties and butt cheeks and ass and titties and shit. You come on, man. You can't do that. You just can't. Where do you think that's even fucking plausible?
All right, here's two points. The underrated aspect of Dion is that he's essentially a teetotaler in terms of all matters of life, like drinking, drugs. He's a religious guy. He's a guy that doesn't cuss really with any regularity, and he stays away from vices. And so Dion, I mean, like how he's able to, like, that's an essential part of how he's able to gain acceptance and credibility in what he's trying to do. And that can't be underestimated. And clearly Ed didn't get that memo. But secondly, I would prefer to live in a world where we have butts, booties, and boobies and where we can cuss freely. I just think it's a more fun place. It's more engaging.
Yes, but that's not the case. That's just not the case.
I know. What is that? Is that hat supposed to symbolize a vagina?
No, mold.
Oh, okay.
Mold. That's the last clip. The last clip of the president. He's addressing the students protesting and concerns, not necessarily about Ed Reed. Okay. So that was the last thing I was going to play. Then I was going to go to the Ed Reed. But matter of fact, I'll come back to that. And let's play Ed Reed in response to
what the president said.
Clip. Yeah. So let's go there.
See what these young folks wear to school, man. You would see this. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They worse than the songs. You have crackheads walking through campus, man. There's no security for these young women. I'm not trying to bash the school. We were picking up trash when I was screen recording. I didn't post that. Somebody screen recorded me and put that out there because they said I was mutting the school. I'm not mutting the school. We picking up trash. At the time you telling me I'm mutting the school. I'm on the ground grabbing trash from under trees behind bushes because my football team was acting too cute. Don't interview me. Interview them kids. Interview the team. Interview these young women and men. I'm not his man. I got a 14-year-old son who I've been missing his stuff 3 weeks. I'm tired, man. This is exhausting, man. They lying on me, man. Why lying on me, man, to save your face, man? Because you're doing something wrong. You understand me? I took family to a basketball game. This man Reggie Diaz, man. This man's evil, man. You're evil, man. This man is evil, dude. I take parents to a basketball game. You understand me? And he don't come out during the warm-up. All the parents are like, where's the coach? When you do come out, man, you got another man fixing your pants, man.
There's so much in that, man. It's
never let another man fix your pants.
Another man fixing your pants? What does that have to do with anything? But listen, man, I'm not a Ed Reed hater, but where are they lying?
Time out, though.
Where are they lying?
Where's who lying?
He says they're lying on me.
That dude
lying on me.
Did that not feel like the R. Kelly interview?
Yes. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. But R. Kelly was much funnier.
Oh God.
In a sense of,
But when he did it with their line, I mean, that like channeled
Yeah,
Naruto.
it did. And people on social media were saying that. That's why I had to go look at the video.
But
like, where are they lying? The videos are there. Like, it's. I mean, what are you talking about? The only thing that you saying that could be lying is the I guess in the interview process that the president outlined, because this is after the president's interview with Roland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Ed reminds me, he honestly reminds me of when you were defending Kanye West. And you're saying, it's not the messenger, but the message that needs to get through. And that's him. But I feel like it does seem like the school is full of shit. That's my gut feeling. I mean, presumably reading between the lines, he took some recruits or whatever to the basketball game and thought that, pregame, coach would come by, you're the athletic director, shake some hands and smile around, and he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Which, okay, why not? You're the athletic director, you're the basketball, you're selling the program, you're selling the university. Do that stuff. That's part of the gig. Mm-hmm. If he's kind of too small-minded or whatever to do that, that's on him. No,
I think at that point, and not to, I don't know Reggie from a can of paint, so I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, I think Reggie knows. First of all, there's three layers to just that point alone. Number one, the man is an athletic director and a head coach of a basketball team. I mean, he's probably limited on time. That's number one. If you said, hey, I called Reggie and told him, hey, I got some recruits coming through. I would love for you to come by and speak to him. If you just thought by chance you were going to come pregame and Reggie was going to have time to come, like that's a little crazy.
I disagree completely.
That's one thing.
I disagree completely.
But hold on. The second thing is, this was post videos. So I think there's a mixture of things going on where Reggie was upset because he was the main person who not bought Ed in, because Ed was mutually interested, but he did bring Ed to the situation there.
Right.
And as post videos after all of that, and again, the stress. I mean, he's, like I said, he's a coach of a bad basketball team and an athletic department that's failing. And then you come out and you come up with all these cursing tirades videos. I really don't want you in my face right now, because I don't know what I might do.
If he doesn't do that, I get that.
Yeah.
But if the idea that, hey, these are recruits that may be interested in the school, and your head coach, who's relatively new to the position, is there, mm-hmm. You slide over in warm-ups and shake a hand and do that. That's part of the gig, man. And if you don't get that, you don't belong in the gig.
Yeah.
That's that thing, man. You got to show kind of that mutual love and support, especially when you also wear that athletic director hat. And maybe it's too big a hat for one guy. And most universities do that. But you're literally talking about a 1 to 2 minute exchange during warm-ups.
Yeah.
You got to be able to put the show on, or you don't belong in the job.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, though, again, that university president's a douche. All the boobies, or whatever. Dude, what do you think is happening on a college campus?
No, but Pink, you can't, we can't just move the goalposts because woe is me, Bethune-Cookman doesn't have anything, and you think Ed is going to give him everything.
No, I'm not saying
That's not going to happen at any other. If you at Rollins College, they wouldn't let that man off the bus. You understand me? That's not going on at other institutions. We can't just accept any old thing because we are any old thing.
But the man said, no way in hell that I'm going to go on national TV or whatever and say that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
What? It was the fifth video. He's saying after the third or fourth, we were like, okay. But Roland asked a specific question. What was the straw that broke the camel's back? Well, the fifth video, when he
didn't even say the fifth video.
He said fourth.
He said, then he goes on and on about the music and the women and what we're trying to do with the university.
Yes.
No, that's insincere.
That's not.
That's insincere.
He's saying that the man, and he technically in the video said 4. I put 5 on there to be extra. But he's saying that, hey, these other videos, he's cursing, he's doing all these tirades, he's not understanding what our issues are and what the problems are at the school. He's not outlining that. He's putting us in a negative light. And then in this last video that broke the camera's back, he's playing music with the derogatory terms and language in it. Pink, I don't, that's just, I don't. If you agree or not, I don't know. Maybe you're in a different world than I am. But you're not getting hired at any other institution outside of maybe a HBCU that is doing it. And people want us, because we have a desperate state of feeling right now for the national. To the national people, to the national audience. So yeah, they want us to bring Ed in no matter what he said. But any other institution, there's not. It's 1,000%. There's not an iota. There's not a 0.1% of the schools that would hire that man after that. There's just not. It's just not.
No, I get that, but there's no way I'm saying that's the straw that broke the camel's back. That's nonsense.
Then you agree that they should have hired him, and in that case, because that's the only thing he did. He didn't do anything else. What else did he do?
What do you mean?
Ed Reed. What else did he do to not be able to be hired by an institution by way of what he did? He didn't do anything else. The only thing he did was the videos.
Well, no, I'm saying the way he singled out the background song and made it this whole
That's
thing.
That's a part of it.
That should be a very small part of it, is my point on that. That should be a very small part.
Maybe it was.
It wasn't. He
said that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
My point is,
you know how many straws it takes to break a camel's back? That's
sure.
the term. That's the reason for it.
Yeah, but if
a camel's back is extremely strong, so it takes 100 straws.
Well, if that's what broke that camel's back, he's a weak ass camel.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the campus, and it is a Christian institution. You can't have that, man. I don't care if you was a Christian atheist or a devil institution. You're not going to have it. They're not going to have it. So if they're not going to have it, why should we have it? Because we desperately need it?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It has to be. Not just from you, but from the other people.
I don't regard musical choices as that significant. I just don't. Now, you could easily say that we cannot tolerate a head coach who's going to publicly criticize the university in a social media platform in that manner. That's all you need to say.
As bad as University of Florida quarterback room is, they let a 17-year-old kid, they released him from a scholarship because he was singing along in his car. He was singing along to a song and said one N-word.
Yeah,
that's it. One N-word. It wasn't multiple. It wasn't bitches. Though. It was one N-word. Hey, we can't have you here, man. We're not doing that. We can't do this. Like any other institution.
I'm not saying they're not.
Doing it.
I am not. You're missing the point. I'm not saying they're not within their rights to do that. But the way he singled that out and made this statement at the university just smacked of insincerity.
Yeah,
I think that president's a complete douchebag,
and
that doesn't mean he's wrong in the decision he made.
Right,
it's just who he is.
Right.
And again, the whole thing with we're gonna surround you with X and O guys. Really, you look like you probably throw like a girl.
Not him, man. He's saying we, like we.
Who's the we? Where's the other football expertise?
Apparently. I mean, Ed Reed agreed to it. So he must have, if Ed Reed had asked or if he had the knowledge to ask, the answer that the president gave him must have sufficed because he agreed. You know what I mean?
I stand on what I said earlier. I think that was a condescending way. And again,
it probably was condescending.
And honestly,
probably was condescending.
Honestly,
yeah.
I think that guy's a deceitful dude, and I don't think the conversation went that way. But when he's doing this interview weeks later and he's trying to make himself look
he
good,
can spin it the way he wants it.
And that I don't respect that guy at all.
Yeah.
That's my point. That guy so offended me that I don't respect him.
Let's go over some comments here because we're way back, and I want to make sure these guys, their voices are heard. Now, FRF, we definitely appreciate you. You've been watching those show and commented as well as Edis by Keys and Carvis and Pittsburgh. All right, so but FRF, he's saying that Bethune-Cookman equipment manager stated that football players have to share helmets off scripts. YouTube live stream and football player confirmed it as well on the same live stream. And Edits by Keys, and this was early in the show when we had the caller Andreas in. And Edits by Keys saying, "Hey, it is true. I'll send it to you as far as the player sharing helmets on the field." All right, FRF next comment is the band practice on the practice field, but the football team doesn't. So in other words, the team doesn't have a practice field. I have been to BCU, have family that have graduated from there. Now that is 1,000% just false. I mean, it may not be false like now or this year, but again, like I said, the storm changed things. I was there. 4 years I was there, but I stuck around Daytona to write, for the newspaper and things of that nature. So for 6 years for sure, I could tell you that Bethune-Cookman had a practice field, and the band was there as well, practicing behind them, right behind Bronson Hall. And I can confirm 2 years before that as well, because Greg and I went on a trip when he wanted to be a part of the football team. So that's 8 years. I don't know what happened 15 years ago, and I don't know this year, but I assume it's because of the storm. All right, let's see here. Pittsburgh, there is no full transparency, or students will not be protesting saying that they haven't met since September. Yeah, that's another thing. I was Andreas kind of cut me off, but he said the word. But that's why I said, man, there's only two ways that this thing could get better, right? One is full transparency, and not necessarily with the media or with the national audience. It is like Pittsburgh is saying, it is with the students there on campus. You need full transparency. You need the numbers. You need that. Or you can take the route that you're saying that you feel about the president, and that is time will heal that. New students will come in. It's the BS way. It's bad. But that's only two avenues I see. But
I agree with you. Transparency. But transparency, like again, it begins like transparency is a culture.
Yeah,
and it begins on the campus. It extends to the media and community around the campus.
It's going to be
and
trees.
then to the extent that there's a national footprint,
just
the same.
For right now, I'm just saying it has to be with the students.
For sure. Sure.
Meet with the SGA and Divine Nine and things like that.
But in your gut, and again, I mentioned earlier, I do have a concern for some of the students that are being vociferous protesters right now. That there will be some retribution.
No, absolutely not.
You don't think so? Okay.
No,
I'm curious
we've done this,
on your take.
Yeah, I've done this in the past. As far as what? They're going to get kicked out of school? Or?
I'm not. That could take many forms.
Or
it could take many forms.
Take money from them? Nah, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
Again, I use the same term 1,000%. It's just not going to happen. It's there's been peaceful protests on the school times before and at other schools. Andreas just told you about a few times, even at UCF, they had protests.
Right.
So that's another thing. I want to make sure people know is Bethune-Cookman is not the only university or college that is in the USA that have had protests or protesting something that they disagree with or need from the school as far as to improve things on campus. Once again, context is just needed in every manner. So yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if they get the full transparency, now you're cooking. If not, and I'm 50-50 on the interim president. I've never met him, never had a conversation with him. There's some things that he has said in that interview that I didn't fully like. I was like, that just doesn't. That sounds a little shaky, man. Why are you saying that?
Well, I was gonna say, if you're not particularly familiar with them, you and I may be on the same footing. We just heard his clip.
That was the first time I heard him speak.
Yeah.
But he's been there. He's only been there like a year and a half.
No, but we're same thing. But here's, I'm a big Malcolm Gladwell guy, and part of what you do is you hear people and you develop blink impressions of them.
Yeah.
And we basically are in the same position. We don't know this guy from Adam, and here he goes. And I developed in that brief interview a very negative impression of him.
Yeah.
He smacks of being insincere and probably a bit of a liar, embellisher, and not particularly a man of character. And again, I to be candid and transparent with you, if that's the lane you're in, and then you're gonna go for low-hanging fruit like music lyrics, it drops my respect for you even more. And that's probably why I reacted so aggressively to that. I get you can't do certain things, but I also believe that what you attack and what you choose to make decisions on reveal who you are as a person. And I thought that said more about the type of guy that the interim president is than it said about Ed Reed or the rightness or wrongness of playing, explicit lyric music. I get that. But again, if that's what you're choosing to, kind of make decisions on, that says something about you. And that's what I'm reacting to and sensing with the interim president.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That could be. I don't know. I haven't heard enough from him to make a definitive statement. But with that one, and again, people comprehend things and listen to things totally different. I didn't hear that in that statement.
Yeah,
I heard, hey, he dissed the school, he downgraded the school, he dissed his employer, he used profane language in multiple videos, and 4 to be specific. We just can't have that here on campus. And hey, also the last video, you know, he was playing profane music in the background that had bitches, hoes, booties, and ass cheeks. Now that clip actually I saw twice, one on the news and one on the Roland Martin interview, but I haven't went on his page or looked it up on Google to see. I want to see what actual song it was. Yeah. You know what
I would have done on that.
If you were
if I was the interim president and I was going to say I would have laid off the music and I would have emphasized this is the 4th video that he released in a short period of time. This shows me as a leader of this university that this is not just an isolated, ill-conceived couple of seconds. He did this over the course of the day. He was tone deaf to how disrespectful this is to the university and the community, and I don't trust him based on this as a leader of our people going forward. End of story. That's a better narrative.
Yeah, it is. It is. But not everyone has media training, and
I don't.
And he should. And not only in that statement, there's other places in that interview where I felt a little shakiness, where he could have been better or more direct.
Yeah.
And only, you know, the bad thing is only time really will tell in which direction that the school is going to go into. First of all, he's only interim, so he's not going to be there long. But that's another thing I didn't feel comfortable with was him making the sole decision. Hey, and then again, maybe he's trying to fall on the sword, if you will, and say, hey, look at me, I'm the person that made the decision. Because I just can't believe that he solely made the decision that we're not hiring Ed Reed, and I don't care what none of the rest of y'all say, because I just don't think so. So I think it was a group decision.
He alluded. I mean, he brought Disney in. He brought them into that conversation.
And we actually have a comment of someone saying that
he backed out. He backed out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of because Roland put it to him. He's like, Disney telling you that you need to fire him, and he kind of backed out of that. And I almost feel like he probably regretted doing it. And then, as one of our commenters has said, he said the Classic is sponsored by Disney.
Blue and Shoe.
But one of our commenters on the show, and we appreciate you, says that Blue Cross Blue Shield is actually the primary sponsor of the Classic. Which again, if this guy's caught another lie, why not fire him for being a turd?
Yeah.
I mean, let's go. Clean house.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely look that up, because that's something in national media. Not necessarily because he could have misspoke about it being a Classic, but if Bethune is not sponsored by Disney in any form or fashion, that's a blatant lie.
Well, and again, but you look at
Disney is such a large, you know what I mean?
But look, connect the dots of what he's saying. The first thing he talks to Ed Reed about is the Christian institution thing.
That's big, though.
No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Watch it. Then he uses Disney, particularly if he chose Disney and it's not accurate.
Yeah.
Disney is family. Disney is this. And then at the end, he goes kind of extra hard on this song thing. And he just has this weird kind of moralistic, religious vibe going with this whole exchange.
Yeah.
And I think it's like when you look at, I mean, in isolation, okay, all that makes sense. I get it. But like, those were like his first talking point. And I said the first thing I would have said was the last point that he made about the hurricanes and whatever, because that's objective. It's clear, This is what. So, I mean, his choice and how he defended his decision-making, explained his decision-making was very tactical, but in a way that I don't appreciate.
Exactly. And one of the other things he talked about, which Dion talked about as well, is alumni thing. Because Roland said, hey, man, a lot of the alumni, they're attacking you and the board of trustees and things like that about the money that you guys are receiving in the funding and what you guys are doing with it. He says, well, hey, they're talking. You say they want to talk money. I'm not. It's not word for word. This is just my interpretation. Like, hey, you guys want to talk money? Well, hey, the national average of alumni givers are around, at a standard university is 23%. All right, as far as
across the board, average.
Now for HBCUs, that does dip, and that goes to around 8 to 9%. All right.
That's quite a dip. I mean, it's over
quite a dip.
50%. I mean, you're less than half of.
For Bethune-Cookman over the last 20 years, well, not over the last 20 years. Over the last 10 years, it's been 1%.
Really?
Yeah. Before that, it was closer to the a little bit above the HBCU national, around 10%. So right now it's at 1%.
What do you feel? I mean, because that's a shockingly low number.
Yeah,
in any circumstance.
and Roland actually presented that, and then the president responded. But go ahead.
What do you think accounts for such a low number there?
A few things. Number one, it's not a part of. Before I get to Bethune, it's not a part of HBCU culture to really to give back after graduation. It's not something that's really hit that's targeted and talked about in schools and in classes. I'm not sure if it's like that at PWIs. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a systemic thing or over time that's just been hammered into the culture.
Yeah. Part of me when we're first talking about these numbers, I'm like, I do think that there are like programs and tactics and ways to chase funds that some people, some people do better, more aggressively, more effectively, because you're looking for you're looking for people to literally buy into what you're doing.
Right.
And there's ways to present that, and there's incentives to presenting that, and just, I mean, some people, just set up an infrastructure and allocate resources to go out and get more money from a university standpoint. Others, don't. But, when you look at the HBCU rate versus across the board, there's clearly a deficiency. And I would imagine that, even across the spectrum of HBCUs, the different schools are taking different approaches to it, some more aggressive than others. But that's why I was just curious from, being an alum, do you get hit up? Like, as an alum?
I do not.
I get stuff from FSU all the time.
I get stuff from Rollins all the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's something in that.
I get stuff from Rollins once a month. Now, but really quick, because I just looked it up. I had to look it up. It's such a big, blatant thing to say about Disney being a partner, but on Bethune-Cookman University's website, Disney is listed as a sponsor, along with a couple of others like Hilton and Gordon and Hard Rock Hotel, Wawa, NASCAR, which is right down the street, Daytona National Speedway. So I had to look that up. Now, he may have misspoke about it, but them being a specific sponsor about the Florida Classic, but they are a sponsor of Bethune-Cookman University. All right. I had to look that up, because if he would have lied about that, then it's not much I can do for him. It's still not much I can do for him, because he has to be even more transparent, and I hope he is with the students. Really quick here, shout out to Kobe Grace. That is a cousin of mine, the only family member that watches the show.
Oh, man.
So shout out to him, man. He actually played college football, so maybe that is the reason why he watches the show quite a bit. He said music is allowed on every campus at 5 a.m. For the football on the football field on all FBS. So that's a BS straw. It's agreeing with you, especially PWIs. Especially at PWI, recruit 94% black students. So he's saying even if it was at a PWI.
Remember the days of Willie Taggart with music at practice?
He said, but you'll never be allowed to publicly criticize your employer.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's not being allowed to publicly criticize your employer is, that's like the sky is blue. Everybody basically knows that. I mean, that's fundamental.
And he goes. Kobe says another good one. He says most alumni give back to winning programs, especially football. And I bet you if you did some numbers on the HBCU, I bet you, the years are probably higher of alumni donations when the teams are doing well.
Well, you got to look at this. I mean, like sports drive the university community
so much.
Like when you have a successful athletic program, it's going to drive applications to the school.
Yeah. Just
students. There's people want to go where there's this perceived action and experience to be had. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing what Jackson State, like enrollment numbers and applications to enroll were like way up during Deion's time there. And I mean, like for years when I would get hit up by FSU, like my standard response, like especially during the low point from like 2001 to 2012, was like, maybe win some games and I'll think about it. Like I don't want to contribute to a losing program. I don't want to buy a new computer for the law school. I don't give a damn. I want to win football games.
No, that's for sure. We got a couple other topics we're going to hit quickly, man, in the world of entertainment and music. But just to close the tighter knot on this for this week, I want to talk to alumni really quick here for 2 minutes. I think so. The caller, Daytona Times journalist, also in the interviews that we could see, Ed Reed's not coming. I think it's safe to close the book on that. I'm not sure why he's still in Daytona. Well, in his interview with Roland Martin yesterday, he explained how he's still trying, and him and his team are trying to get a meeting with the president, board of trustee staff. So that is the reason why he's still there. He still believes there's hope, and also he wants to do more for those students, for the kids that he personally brought in and that is on campus just for him. And he did allude in that interview to, he said, and they can't move or change. They can't, So I think we were talking about off air about how if he wasn't technically hired, the players that have come in and already set up shop for school, they can't just transfer because the coach is fired, because technically the coach wasn't fired.
Well, yeah, under the transfer rules, you are looked at differently if your coach gets fired or leaves a school as far as your ability to abruptly leave the school yourself. And that's probably a sticking point with Ed Reed technically never having been hired.
So the best bet is they have to nail this coaching hire. They have to nail it. They have to have more transparency with the students on campus, get that situated and figured out ASAP. They have to show where the money is going, that they have, where it's going to go, and complete that mission. They have to nail the coaching hire, and then also try to maintain the recruiting class, or the couple of guys that Ed did bring in. He said it was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So
the other one.
And he said, Marquis said his nephew is one of them.
Ed Reed's nephew, not Marquis.
Ed Reed's nephew. Yeah.
Probably could outplay him.
That's a good catch.
But I was gonna say, but again, just circle back. When you have an institution that is alleged to have had some financial improprieties and have pending lawsuits, that alone will probably have a significant chilling effect on donors.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to pony up a hefty donation if there's some sense that it's going to go pay off a lawsuit or a debt, or it's just not going to be used properly.
Yeah.
But there's an ego stroke in donating. It's maybe getting your name on something, or maybe it's like, again, with the sports thing, that you're donating to some sort of successful program on the campus. So there's a real thing. I mean, winning matters.
No, for sure. Speaking of professional, we have to hit our 2 sponsors here. I'm going to hit them back to back. Speaking of sponsors and donors, our very first sponsor, Overkink.com. Overkink.com has all, and I do mean all, of your bedroom needs. Use promo code BubbaPink at Overkink.com, and you can get those needs met at a discount. All right, they have everything from condoms. I always say that first. Pinks doesn't like it. To lingerie, to every sex toy you can even imagine. I just went on there recently. They added some more stuff. So I mean, whatever you're into, they have it. All right, Overkink.com, promo code BubbaPink.
Yeah.
All right. The next one, I'm just gonna hit them back to back, man, because we waited so long. Royal13thebrand.com. All right. Be fly going into the spring. We're pretty much here now. Use promo code
it's supposed
BubbaPink.
To be cold tomorrow.
Yeah, man. I have a 90s party coming up. I had to hit Royal13thebrand.com up to see what they had for this 90s party. I got a hat from there, actually. So use promo code BubbaPink and get whatever you need at a discount. All righty. So once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. We're available on all, and I do mean all, podcast streaming platforms. We appreciate you guys tuning in, commenting, all of that good stuff. That is a lightning rod of a situation and conversation, things like that. And as things progress, we'll come back to it if there's a big news or something like that.
Yeah, anything else intriguing out of the story, we'll be back.
We'll be back. All right. Now, we're going to get to the NFL playoffs, but just really quickly here, there is something big that is going to go down, and I'm looking for it. My eyes are getting bad, worse and worse, man. In the NBA, all right, we have a huge matchup coming up, man. 76ers versus Denver Nuggets. Of course, anybody knows I am a huge 76ers fan, and we're taking on the Nuggets. Nuggets are number 1 in the West. Philly is number 2 in the East, and we're facing off, man, the 2 best big men in the league. Right now, they are saying that, and this is going down Saturday, they're saying that Jokic is the front runner for MVP. Again, for a third time. And Embiid is not on the list just yet. I have absolutely no idea how or why not. But, yeah, what are your thoughts, man?
I would initially think there would be some voter fatigue in going for Jokic again, but if they're at the top of the West, that's probably different because he's won it and they haven't been at the top of the West.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's as long as they keep at the top, and our preseason guy was Luka. But if they don't make a real push to get maybe one of the top 2 seeds in the West, and I don't know that they're gonna, that might put a little damper on his campaign for MVP.
Yeah, Dallas have been slipping, man. They're 3-7 in the last 10. They're currently tied for 7th with Utah. And to be specific, Phoenix, Dallas, and Utah are all tied or within 0.5 games. So that's a very close race there. But yeah, they have to. Yeah, he's going to have to get at least to the 3 line.
Get
to
up
have
there.
a real shot.
I agree.
And they're not incredibly far from that. They're about 3 games out from that, so that's not bad. But with Embiid, man, I mean, he's right there. They're second in the East, and that's a close race as well because Milwaukee and Brooklyn are right there. But he's basically leading the league in scoring. Him and Luka are like neck and neck. 0.1 separates them both. Of course, he's going to have the blocks, and I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. Last year, I did think Embiid should have won the MVP,
and I agreed with you.
But I understood why and how Jokic got it because they played each other head to head, and Denver won.
Okay.
Now the matchup was completely even. You know what I mean?
Individual matchup.
Embiid had more points, but Jokic had more assists. Like it was even when you look at the box score.
Right.
But Denver won the game. Right, and that was the last game before people had to vote. That matters, man.
Yeah.
Head-to-head matchup, and when you win an MVP in the NBA, that leaves, for lack of better terms, a stain or a memory in those voters' heads.
Well, when things are very close, and the reality is like if you at any given moment you take the top 5-6 guys in the NBA, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah, man.
They're all great players, and so again, you kind of go, okay, well, points were close, this were close, that were close. Well, he was 2-0 against them in the actual game. Like, anything can separate it at that point. Or like we're saying with Luka, well, he's had a great year. Jokic has been great, but Jokic is number 1 in the West, and you're number 6. Give it to Jokic. I mean, like, it's almost like tiebreakers in a playoff situation where it's like, okay, how far down and how obscure do we have to get to separate these guys?
Yeah. And Kobe asking, what's the line? The line not out yet, but whatever the line's going to be, I'm going to be all on top of it. You better believe that, man. Philly and Brooklyn is in a tight game right now. Philly's only up 2. And I was so mad I had to miss that game, but I couldn't miss talking about Bethune again tonight.
That's right.
But Philly is up 2 with 13 seconds left.
Whose ball?
And it is Philly's ball.
Okay.
So, of course, Brooklyn has to
gotta hit some free throws.
But they're going to, shout out to our boy Ben Simmons. He's now
he's our boy.
For the last,
you've been dumping on the guy for years now.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. Something is wrong with me. I'm sick because I really enjoy his struggles. Literally.
No, I'm the same way.
I'm sick. No. I'm gonna tell you how sick I am, man. I'm gonna tell you how sick I am.
Go ahead.
There, for me, the greatest joys in life. A is getting head. And 2B is Ben Simmons struggling. And I really thought about this like a week ago. I sat down, I list things out. That's how sick I am. I did this literally.
I'm probably sicker. The people that are on my shit list.
Yeah.
I will just randomly have moments during the day where I envision myself watching them die.
Oh, Trump probably made that.
And those moments fill my heart with joy. It's like I literally want to watch this person die.
Oh man, Kobe's dying hilariously at that, man. But no, that's true, man. But yeah, so that's what's going on with that. I thought that was a big game. All eyes should be on that, and it's a day before the NFL playoffs, so you can get there and you can watch it. All right, now the All-Star voting. really quickly here, Bam is complaining about the fan voting, and we hear this maybe every other year or so, and they've changed it. The NBA listens to their fans because they change it. Remember, the fans had a bigger voice. Now they changed it to a smaller percentage or something like that. But Bam is still saying that a lot of those guys that are on the list shouldn't be there. But, because sometimes the initial list, because I think the first voting that is allowed is the fans. So you'll find, like back in the day, that's when what's the guy with the Lakers? Caruso used to be on there.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say Yao would always get,
even after he had
all
played.
of China would be voting for him. It's just the numbers, man.
Yeah. So it's weird things like that. But Bam is having a good season. He's going to make the All-Star team. I think why complain if you know you're going to make the All-Star team? You shouldn't be a starter because
Bam feels some kind of way because he's not a sexy player. Like he's
the way
not,
he plays?
He's not. Yeah, his game is not. He doesn't have the ball in his hands a ton like most of the other all-star caliber guys do.
Yeah,
and he feels kind of insecure in that place because he knows he's never going to be at the top of these fan votes.
Yeah,
and then it's going to rely on the coaches to get him in. But my advice to Bam is accept what you are and be comfortable in your own skin. Like people respect you, like they do, or you wouldn't even be in the mix for this all-star thing. And people that matter, people inside basketball respect you. And that's more important than, what the random fan does.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. All righty, now, again, before we hit NFL, just hit some quick things here, man. Erykah Badu.
Nothing quick about hitting that.
Well, maybe for me. Listen, man. Erykah Badu posted a picture with her daughter here.
Oh, mother-daughter time.
Yeah, mother-daughter time.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
The internet is in a frenzy because this is her daughter and she's posting this type of picture on her. Do
man,
you have
her
a
daughter's
problem
an adult
with that? I would hope so. I don't know how many kids are. I'm going to safely assume that yes.
Well, Erykah Badu's up there.
Yeah,
she's not. 30.
I don't know, and I don't know if this is Three Stacks' daughter or not, but he's kind of up there too.
Yeah. I mean, just as an admirer of good booties, I'm going to endorse this picture.
I'm going to endorse it too.
Yeah.
We both endorse the picture as long as the daughter's over age, all right?
Yeah, as
we
long
both
as it's conditional on that.
Yeah.
Have you ever knocked down a mother-daughter tandem? Not at the same time.
Absolutely not.
No?
I haven't, but that could be fun and intriguing.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it could be
What
intriguing.
a notch on the belt.
I'm getting to that age where I'm entering that. I can.
It's all about ambition, man. It's not about your age. You just gotta want it.
That's true. But yeah, we definitely like that. Now, what we didn't have time for because we went so long on the Bethune-Cookman thing, I wanted to ask him because this lady did this in Daytona. Actually, I wanted to ask him if he did a story or heard about it.
What did she do?
She murdered her husband in the hospital. Now, apparently, this was a plan. He was terminally ill. And apparently they had a plan. I know you've talked about. That's why I brought this up.
$1 Million Baby.
Yeah, they had a plan before. Like, hey, if when it's time, I have to go to the hospital. I'm terminally ill. Pull the plug. We'll do it for each other. If it's you or if it's me. And she went to the hospital and bang bang, she shot him.
Shot him in the hospital.
Shot him.
Oh, that's a funny way to do it.
There's other ways you could do it. I don't know. Cover the head with a pillow.
Might upset the whole floor with a couple gunshots. I don't know.
Take his oxygen mask away.
No,
other ways.
Yeah, I mean, this is $1 Million Baby, a movie that, I literally saw it in the middle of the night, and I could not wait to wake up the next morning to call my dad and talk about it.
Right.
That movie had essentially call it a mercy killing. And just personally, I'm very much on board with mercy killings. I do not want to live my life to an age that I can't do things.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life to an age where my life is basically a series of medical appointments interspersed by eating. I don't want that for myself. And I would hope I could just die before that happens. And so if these two married couple, they made this pact together and she follows through on it, it's their wish, man. It's their wish. Let it be.
So you don't think she should be arrested?
No. Hell no. What is that going to prove?
Yeah.
Look at her. What is she going to do? I'm surprised she got a shot off.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Honestly, my bet is she'll probably be dead within 6 months.
that happens a lot with older couples. When one of them died, the other one.
I mean, you got to think
that happens like a lot.
You would, and look at this. Like that couple, like they had a level of connectedness that they made and shared that vow with each other. She's not going to live another 6 months. Yeah. She's going to be heartbroken and not have much of a will to live. I don't know, maybe she should move to the villages, find some Viagra, and be banging away. But I don't know. But like, as we're going, I think she's dead in 6 months. Whatever. It's just she's probably going to lose her will to live, and that's fine. That's okay. You know, people don't have to live forever.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Now, NFL, man. The conference championships are here. AFC and NFC championships. You have one-legged Mahomes against Burrow, the new upcoming, stud there. And then, of course, you have the 49ers and Eagles with the 7th round pick wonder the 49ers have.
Yeah.
And, of course, Jalen Hurts with Philly.
With the exception of Buffalo, who really played poorly. Like, how could you be disappointed with this Final Four?
You just can't.
It's a great Final Four. There should be 2 really great games.
Well, you have some Cowboy fans that may disagree.
I mean, the Cowboys are not good.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just saying,
this is
football news. I mean, these are 4 heavyweight teams, great player. I mean, like, this is fantastic. The only other team for me, potentially talent-wise, is Buffalo, but they had a chance. They just didn't make it. You know, but the Bengals kind of dominated them at home. But I think this is great.
Before you go into that, you know what's interesting? You just sparked a thought by me.
All right.
NFL more so than NBA basketball. You get and boxing. You get the matchups that you want in NFL. More so than NBA. We never got the Kobe, LeBron that we wanted. There's other, and I could think of more. And boxing, that's like the common thing. Like, we just don't get the fights that we really want, the boxing fans. And when we do, they're so old. It wasn't.
Well,
in their prime.
There's too much power with the fighters.
It is, and their managers or whatever.
Yeah.
They want to stay undefeated.
They get to pick and choose.
But NFL, man, we get them. We get them. We get the Peyton, the Mannings and Brady's, the Mahomes and Burrows, and we get them, man, on a yearly basis.
Well, I mean, that position is so critically important to success.
Yeah.
And when you have an elite guy in the top of in his peak, you should be in these games. It's extremely disappointing if you don't get to these games and play in them. So. Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, it's great storylines. I mean, the Chiefs faced a great gut test. I mean, Mahomes goes down with an ankle injury. Chad Henne engineers a 97-yard drive to kind of keep the lead and keep things positive. Pat comes back in the second half and clearly hobbled, but did enough. It was a good gut check win. The Bengals got to feel great about that. I mean, they go to Buffalo in the snow, control the game from beginning to end. That was a masterclass.
It was a straight up masterclass, man.
Yeah,
from all sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I mean the 49ers, kind of, I felt for the most part they controlled that game. And then Philadelphia, again, upper hand pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I did say, and you got Chris commenting saying the Cowboys 49ers game had 47 million views, but that was a really good game, man. Like, just watching it, it was a really good game. I thought it was the best game of that weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Nah, I enjoyed the Chiefs game the most. Just because you had a great team facing adversity and coming through.
You did, but I just never thought we were going to lose.
The 49ers Dallas game was not a pretty game to watch, but I will say this: I think it was the most violent football game I watched all year.
Right?
No, I mean that was a physical game.
Yeah,
and they hit. I mean, there was just a lot of violent hitting in that game. Not I'm not saying it illegally. It was just one of those. I mean, men only, like real dudes only.
Yeah,
that was it was entertaining in that, but I mean, to me, like the level of play wasn't. I mean, it was a 19-12 game.
No, for sure.
That wasn't the greatest thing.
And then Carvis, of course he's a Joe Burrow guy because he's an LSU guy. Yeah, so shout out to Carvis and LSU. But Joe Burrow, man, this is another thing too.
How could you not be a Joe Burrow guy?
Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan, but like I like Joe Burrow. I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about him.
I think I think Joe Burrow is like you said it. Like how can you I like Joe Burrow. Like I got my favorite team.
Yeah.
I got maybe my favorite quarterback.
Right.
But I like Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
like there's
just like him. Every time he talks, I love his arrogance, his brashness.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, man, with these two quarterbacks. It's unfortunate Mahomes is dinged up and hurt, but it kind of is what it is, man. If he takes the field, Joe Burrow beats him for a fourth time. Now, here goes the thing. The only thing that's saving Mahomes and the best quarterback of the world, thing that the fans and media kind of puts on the player, is that he's going to win MVP this year, hands down. So that's 2 MVPs and 1 Super Bowl. So if Joe Burrow beats him, he would have to win the Super Bowl, right? And then you can toggle the MVPs. That's a lot of MVPs, too, for such a young career. But, hey, you this guy beat this guy 4 times head up, 2 times in the playoffs. That means something.
Yeah.
And of course I talk about it all the time. The Bengals have a better team. It's because Burrow is on the rookie contract. But so what, man? That's a small piece of this big pie.
Well, you did a great piece, maybe a month or so ago, and you kind of assembled like this laundry list of just crazy Mahomes stats.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of that stuff I didn't realize, watching week to week. But then when you said it, you're like, wow. And if Joe Burrow wins this weekend and he has 4-0 against Pat Mahomes,
that means something,
that gets
man.
one of those numbers that wow, I can't ignore that. That's kind of crazy.
You can't ignore it, man. You just can't ignore it, and it has a possibility of it happening. And just, man, unless like Mahomes starts the game and can't finish it, midway through the first or something, he has to get pulled and then doesn't come back. Now we're talking something different.
Yeah, if it was something if for some reason he's only able to play a small portion of the game, then it becomes a different thing.
Yeah, but outside of that, suit up
and honestly, I mean, I can't imagine Pat not playing the game. Yeah. I mean, even if he gets dinged again, it would have to take like a major injury for him not to play.
Oh yeah, man.
It was. I mean,
he was dying to get back in.
I know. I was gonna say, what happened to him last week was pretty significant, and he wasn't having not coming back.
Right.
That was, that just wasn't an option for him.
Yeah.
I was just a little bit of an aside, but I was on what the heck, TikTok the other day, and they had Gary Vitti, the Lakers trainer, was rehashing when Kobe tore his Achilles, and all the different stuff that Kobe said in the minutes afterward. He's just like, can we just tape it? Can we he's just like, he ran through all the options, and until it was like, no, I'll let you take these 2 free throws, and then you're gonna get out of here. But it's just like the mentality of a true warrior is just like, all right, what do I have to do to go on? They can't wrap their head around the idea that they can't go on.
Exactly.
No matter how bad the injury or the pain is, they're just not equipped to say, okay, my night is done. I can't do this anymore.
No, exactly, man. So. No, that's for sure. So that's the NFL. We'll see how those games wrap up for sure this weekend, and we'll be back.
What do you see here? I see the Chiefs in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I originally I saw Chiefs 49ers a couple of weeks ago, as you can project, as the playoffs started. I'll just go ahead and stick with that. Philly looked incredibly strong. I said this before the Philly game. They was trying to hype up the Giants or what have you because Jalen was just coming back. But I said, man, when Jalen was in the game and they were hitting midstream in the season, I mean, they looked like the best team in football.
Yeah, they did.
So it looks like as long as Jalen is healthy and he's been out, they were cautious with him and he's ready. I just don't see how any of these, especially the Giants, a team like the Giants, are going to stick with them, and that's what happened. So I don't know. It's going to be a tall task. The 49ers I just think they have the best roster, top to bottom, in the league. What's funny is I think that the 3 teams, 49ers, Eagles, Bengals, in that order, they have the best rosters, top to bottom, and you hear other NFL pundits and things talk about it. They'll say the same thing. That's what's interesting about, and those teams actually made it this far in the playoffs. So, So I'm taking the 49ers, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if Philly, eases out. But it should be a closer game. Like if the Eagles come out and blow the 49ers out, I'm afraid. I just am, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, it'd be a huge statement for them to
Huge statement, man.
blow the 49ers out.
But I really like
the only recipe for that is if you do have like just the moment does become too big for Purdy. Because defensively they're so good. I don't think it's going to be a defensive collapse. Philly's good enough to score points, but I don't see like the game's going to get out of hand because the 49er defense just can't get anything done. It would have to be, some sort of Purdy meltdown, a couple turnovers, a couple short field situations, and then Philly just, gets on top of them and doesn't let up.
Yeah. The Purdy thing's going to get very interesting all season. All he has to do, I believe, is make the Super Bowl, and he's Teflon. He's probably Teflon right now. So we'll definitely see of that for sure. I know one thing I wanted to say, but before we talk about that, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Put Up a Shut Up tournament. That's going down February 4th. It's a basketball tournament. It's going to be really fun. They're going to have food out there. They're going to have, a lot of good players, good teams. Put Up a Shut Up, PUSU. You can look them up on IG. This is some of the details for it. It's going to be right there in Winter Park. They're going to be hooping. They're going to be balling. There's a 3-point shootout. It's just going to be a fun environment, man. Shout out to the Tony Howard Project for putting this together. Pink and I are planning to put a team in the GM5, which is a different league/tournament that the Tony Howard Project does.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's Put Up a Shut Up time, February 4th. Check them out and look them up on IG. All right. Just really quick here. I had a couple of other NBA notes before we got off of here.
Okay.
Kobe saying 26-13 Eagles. So he's with you.
Yeah.
Two teams really quick one is the Lakers, the other is Portland Trailblazers. Really quick, since Portland Trailblazers are closer to home here, probably technically as well, right?
Yeah.
Portland Trailblazers are in trouble, man. We kind of knew that heading into the season, but even just projecting right now, they're in the 12th seed, so they're down there.
Well, they got a nice start to the year. So I mean, it's how bad they've been recently is like really bad because they were
hot
several games
out
above 500 at the beginning.
And this is the problem that they have is the roster. You have Dame surrounded by a lot of young guys, and Jeremy Grant with nurses. That's not a lot of avenues for improving this team. Now, if you're Dame, Dame got the bag. I don't think he can be worried about what the team is, how good the team is around him, because he knew the situation before he got in there.
Yeah.
The only guy that has trade value that you would want to trade is Jeremy Grant. And how much is he actually going to get back for you? You're not moving Anthony Simons. He's the only bridge to a post Dame for you having something on that team from a garbage perspective. And then they have the rookie Shaden Sharp. He's not getting enough time to really know exactly what he's all about.
Yeah.
What can you do with this roster, man?
Not much.
It's not much, man.
No.
And nobody's coming to Portland in free agency.
Yeah. That is, I mean, Portland's situation is the argument against the small market team, in that you're here, you've never truly bottomed out since the Greg Oden pick, and so you're kind of always playoff, fringe playoff, whatever. So you're not getting the absolute cream of the lottery, where you're potentially drafting a franchise-altering player, and you have no cachet in the free agent market. People are not going to go there, and you had the good fortune of getting Dame Lillard, who's kind of carried the franchise, and C.J. McCollum was a great player. They had good but not great. And they're just stuck where they are, and that's, they don't have the pieces or assets to move. They don't have a second star, or really even maybe a superstar. If Dame Lillard, he's a very, very good basketball player. He's a star. He, for me, is not a superstar.
No.
And I think that's a big gap. And I think that when you look at this team, that's why they're where they are.
Yeah, and the biggest problem with him not being a star, so before this season, I just don't see how that organization can say, hey, we're gonna make a playoff push with Jeremy Grant, Simons and with Justice Winslow and I think what they should have done, and it's not even like whatever hindsight or whatever, they should have traded Dame to bottom out, man. Get in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, because even if, first of all, if you get him and you pair him with the Simons and the Grant, now you're cooking. But even if you miss out on him, you're in such a better place than just barely missing. You're not even going to make the play-in. Like that, but you're not bad enough to receive a top 5 pick. That's terrible.
Well, I mean, you could get lucky with the lottery. That's the one thing you could do.
You would have to get extremely lucky.
You're not at 12, like you said. You're not going to be in the play-in games, And maybe it gets a little worse. Maybe they're 13th by the end of this, and what is 13th though? Isn't that basically a 7th or 8th pick?
But the problem is that's just in the West, right? So the lottery is both conferences combined. So you have what 3 teams under them, but then you go to the East. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams under them. So you're not going to get lucky in the lottery. And that's just if the season. That's just if it ended today, right?
Well,
it could change.
What I said is kind of true. I said if it gets a little worse, maybe you're 7 or 8.
Worse. Yeah.
And whatever, you take your chance. I mean, that's why they have the lottery.
Yeah.
So it's not just purely the worst team.
Yeah.
A lottery's a loaded system, whatever. But maybe they do. And even if you get Scoot, you got something special.
Even if you do.
So I mean, it's really tough if you don't draft and maintain a superstar. Like, it's tough to build a team in those markets.
Yeah.
And they've had Dame for the length of his career. It hasn't gone anywhere. The Magic are a team. They've had high picks. They haven't even had anybody at the level of Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
And they're just in purgatory because of that. And nobody, despite Orlando not having a state income tax and a couple of other good climate, like, people don't want to come here to play.
Yeah.
It's just a very difficult situation. I mean, and you look at Houston, they had Jalen Green was a high pick, Jabari Smith's a high pick, but they're not the guy.
No.
They're just treading water.
They are, but they're going to be in the beyond sweepstakes as well. So
yeah, for sure.
They're just taking to be taken. But yeah, we'll definitely see. I just thought that was just something to note there.
Yeah.
Especially with our guy Anthony Simons being there now. Now I thought that was going to be the last thing, but this is really the last thing because I love the people who comment to the show. So I just want to make sure. We are about full transparency on this show. All right?
That's right.
Now, really quick before I get to the main one I'm thinking about, Carvis, go Pelicans. They do have a good team waiting on Zion to get back. Kobe, he's responded to FR. So FR says, so you played not even half of Ed Reed interview on Roland Martin, trying to make this man seem crazy. If not, it's not right. I know you represent BCU, but come on, man. No, we played a lot of Ed Reed last week. As far as on the Roland Martin interview, I just thought it was more important to play more. We couldn't play a lot of it because of what's the word I'm looking for? When you play something else doesn't belong, copyright infringement.
Yeah.
We couldn't play a lot of it. So out of the 4 clips I could play without YouTube taking us down, I just thought it was a little bit more important to hear the president because it's the first time I ever heard his voice. I even know what his voice sounded like.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hear a little bit more about his reasonings for different things because we've heard from Ed over the last couple of weeks, but I did want that portion of Ed on the show because I thought that it kind of represented everything in that 2 minutes, his natural feelings, his emotions, but also some of his points also within that. So I thought that was important. Yeah, we could have played, but you know where you can go find it. I mean, we didn't hide it. It's the Roland Martin interview. You know where you can go and find the entire interview. And Ed does have really good points. He does. Maybe he is totally right. It's just, in my opinion, he should have went about it a different way. And that's all. That's all. Ultimately, that's all. All right? So hopefully that answered your question, and hopefully we were transparent enough for you that you come back next week and catch us on the bench. On the Bench podcast. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms.
We're always on fire. That's
it, man. Appreciate you guys. Again, appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, commenting. That's really appreciated. Carvers, appreciate the super chat, $10. That is always welcome. We're going to start pushing that. I didn't even know I had it active. Apparently I do. Thank you, guys.
All right. So that's just something where people could just randomly.
Hold on real quick. Stop stream.